Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm truly excited to take you on an extensive, fascinating journey into one of the most intriguing and sometimes controversial topics in neuroscience and psychology, the differences and similarities between the male and female brain. This topic has captivated scientists, educators, philosophers, and society at large for centuries, sparking passionate debates, misunderstandings, and widespread myths. Today, we will delve into this subject from multiple perspectives: biological, psychological, social, and cultural, blending the latest scientific discoveries with practical, real-world implications. Our goal is to foster a richer, more nuanced understanding of what truly differentiates and unites us in terms of brain function and behavior. Historical context and early beliefs. To begin, it's essential to recognize that the concept of differences between male and female brains is far from new. From ancient civilizations to the Enlightenment era, thinkers have long speculated about the intellectual and emotional disparities between men and women. These early views often reflected the social hierarchies and gender norms of their times rather than objective science. For example, many ancient societies idealized men as rational decision-makers and leaders, while women were relegated to emotional and nurturing roles, a narrative that was reinforced in philosophy, literature, and early scientific thought. Such stereotypes deeply influenced early psychological and anatomical research, often leading to biased conclusions and reinforcing societal inequalities rather than uncovering biological truths. It was not until the 20th century, with the advent of modern neuroscience, advanced imaging technologies like MRI and fMRI, and more rigorous scientific methods, that researchers began to investigate brain differences systematically. This marked a turning point, from speculation and stereotype to data-driven inquiry. Anatomical and structural differences. Modern neuroscience has revealed that while male and female brains show some anatomical and functional differences, these are typically subtle and complex, and importantly, do not denote superiority or inferiority. For instance, it's well documented that the average male brain is approximately 10% larger in volume than the average female brain. However, this size difference largely reflects differences in overall body size and does not correlate with intelligence or cognitive ability. Diving deeper, specific brain regions show variations between sexes. Women tend to have a larger corpus callosum, the thick bundle of nerve fibers that connects the brain's two hemispheres. This might facilitate better interhemispheric communication, potentially explaining why women often perform better on tasks requiring multitasking, verbal fluency, and the integration of emotional and logical processing. Conversely, men often show stronger connectivity within each hemisphere, which may underpin strengths in spatial reasoning, motor coordination, and focused problem-solving tasks. Other notable differences include the size of the hippocampus, involved in memory and navigation, which is often larger relative to brain size in women, and the amygdala, linked to emotional processing, which tends to be larger or more reactive in men. These findings suggest nuanced specialization rather than categorical differences. Functional brain activity and cognitive styles. Beyond anatomy, functional brain imaging studies provide fascinating insights into how male and female brains process information differently. For example, during language-related tasks, women tend to activate a broader network of brain areas, which might contribute to their generally stronger verbal skills and language fluency. Men, on the other hand, often show more focused activation in regions responsible for spatial navigation and motor control during spatial tasks. However, it's critical to emphasize that these are general trends with large overlaps. Many women outperform men on spatial tasks, and many men excel in verbal domains. The variability within each sex often exceeds the average differences between sexes. The role of hormones. Hormones are powerful modulators of brain development and function. Prenatal exposure to sex hormones such as testosterone and estrogen plays a crucial role in organizing brain structures and circuits. For instance, higher prenatal testosterone exposure has been linked to enhanced spatial abilities, whereas estrogen influences language skills, emotional regulation, and social bonding. Throughout life, hormonal fluctuations during puberty, menstrual cycles, pregnancy, and aging continue to impact brain function and mood. This dynamic hormonal landscape shapes behavior and cognition in complex ways that interact with individual experiences and environments. Neuroplasticity. The brain's flexibility. One of the most transformative insights from neuroscience is the concept of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt, rewire, and reorganize itself in response to learning and experience. Neuroplasticity means that many observed sex differences in brain structure and function are not fixed or predetermined but evolve based on environmental exposure, education, culture, and individual choices. For example, girls who regularly engage in video games or spatially demanding activities often develop spatial skills comparable to or exceeding those of boys. Boys encouraged to express emotions and engage in social communication tend to develop stronger empathy and interpersonal skills. This plasticity challenges rigid gender stereotypes and underscores the importance of nurturing diverse talents in all individuals. Social, educational, and cultural influences. The brain doesn't develop in a vacuum. Cultural norms, educational practices, social expectations, and individual experiences profoundly shape cognitive development and behavior. Gender roles taught and reinforced from early childhood impact what skills children practice and develop. In education, understanding these differences can help tailor teaching strategies to individual learners' needs rather than relying on broad generalizations. For example, incorporating spatial reasoning exercises into curricula for all children can reduce gender gaps in STEM fields. Similarly, fostering emotional literacy and communication skills benefits all students. Real-world implications. Understanding male-female brain differences has practical implications in many domains. Education. Tailoring learning approaches that recognize cognitive strengths and weaknesses can improve outcomes and reduce gender disparities. Mental health. Men and women often experience psychological disorders differently, from prevalence rates to symptom expression and coping mechanisms. Gender-informed approaches can enhance diagnosis and treatment effectiveness. Workplace. Recognizing diverse cognitive and emotional styles supports team dynamics, leadership development, and innovation. Relationships. Insight into how brain differences affect communication and empathy can improve interpersonal understanding and conflict resolution. Avoiding oversimplification and stereotypes. Despite all the intriguing findings, it's essential to caution against oversimplification. Many popular myths, such as, men are naturally better at math, or, women are inherently more emotional, lack rigorous scientific support. Cognitive abilities and personality traits exist along broad continua, with tremendous overlap between individuals of different sexes. Social and cultural forces heavily influence who excels in various domains. Therefore, the brain should never be viewed as a rigid blueprint that limits individual potential but as a dynamic organ shaped by an interplay of biology, experience, and culture. Expanding beyond the binary. Finally, the field of gender neuroscience is rapidly evolving beyond the traditional male-female binary. Studies now include transgender, non-binary, and gender-diverse individuals, helping us understand how brain structure and function relate to gender identity and expression. These findings challenge simplistic, binary views and promote inclusivity and respect for human diversity. Conclusion. In conclusion, the male and female brain are extraordinary organs shaped by evolution, biology, hormones, personal experiences, and culture. Appreciating both their differences and similarities enriches our understanding of human diversity.